Good afternoon and welcome to More Meets the Eye. I'm your host, Blind Prime, and for today we're going to be talking about the G.I. Joe Classified Series Steele Core Trooper 2-pack, the G.I. Joes. Yeah, they finally get an army builder. So far, for the Cobras, we've gotten the Valkyrie team, we've gotten the Blue Ninjas. I think the Blue Ninjas are Cobra. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one, please, in the comments. But the Blue Ninjas, then you have the Viper Squadron 3-pack, and then the His Tank Squadron little thing that was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. And not really anything for the Joes. You've just been collecting named Joes. And finally, we got Grunt. We talked about him earlier, and he has the ability to be army builder, but this is actually an army builder. It isn't a cheating army builder like Grunt. This is more on the, you get two characters who have no names, but I like to call the female one Badnews and the male one Goodnews, because that's the way it's going to go for the news whenever it comes to the reviews on this one. And that's the hint of what I'm going to talk about. The figures are excellent for the most part, and it is an amazing thing, opportunity to have, or a great thing to have the GI Joes finally getting some army builders. And I hear Night Force may be giving out an army builder too for the Joes, so that is also really neat. And let's get on and start talking about this this 2-pack. And also, before I really begin, I shouted out Fireside Talks, but I think his name is actually Fire Talks. So that one's on me. I don't know where I got Fireside from. It's just Fire Talks. So my bad, Fire Talks. But I went ahead and corrected that. So let's get into good news here, and let's talk about the fun accessory first. I have it on each of their backs. So before really getting into the figures, we're going to get into the most exciting part about this. Darn it, bad news. I was trying to position you. How did you do that? Stop it. Don't be yeah. So each of these figures comes with a really nice backpack, and the backpack does fit great on the backs of the figures, though on Bad News, the backpack seems to be a little too big. Maybe her little port on the back, the port seems to be a bit too long. So maybe her port just wasn't shaved enough in, or I don't know. But the backpack does fit on her. It's just slightly off. Now the backpack itself feels like it's two rocket nuts. It's two rockets that come up to either side of this central this rectangular chamber in the center. That's got some little it feels like it's got some sort of compression chamber in there, like it's got compressed fuels that then get mixed in this upper area that is sort of, it just pops up and it tapers down into this point at the top where these hoses come from each side, and the hoses are each textured to really nice hose texture, and then they go down into the actual rockets, and that's pretty cool. I think that's a really cool little attention to detail. They could have just thrown in a rocket pack, like with maybe I still have it over here somewhere with there was the Hydra Squadron 2-pack came with a rocket pack of its own. Here it is. Yeah, here's their rocket pack, and their rocket pack doesn't really leave anything up for the imagination when it comes to. It leaves everything up to the imagination because there's not really much here. For the one that came with the AIM soldiers, AIM 2-pack. So just wanted to show that off, and also their sizes. Like it's a better quality thing, because all the hollowness on the inside of the one from Marvel Legends, and the fact that Marvel Legends is really squishy, it's kind of annoying me. But this one is solid. This is a solid chunk of plastic. It's really nice, and there are some really great textures to it. So the jetpacks are really the winners, and these blast effects that came with them are really cool blast effects, and even better, they're kind of like a weird fire effect, so you could use it in some of your other Joes or Cobras. But the blast effects just come right out. Come on, here it goes. And they each just come out pretty easily, though mine here is a little damaged. It's actually a little loose in there. and I don't like that at all. So that's annoying. One of my blast effects is damaged, and that's a shame. There's a few QC problems with this set, but we'll put those blast effects in the back and set back the jetpacks down right there. And the other jetpack as well, wherever it went, where you went, here it is. And get these blast effects out of it. And then set it down here. Here we go. And then there and there. Alright, so on to the figures. We'll talk about bad news first, and then we'll get into good news. Bad news already kind of destroyed some stuff over here because, well, she's bad news. The knife and gun on them, by the way, is similar on both figures, and this is a negative for both of them. The knife sheath is very loose. It seems like they've either overused the knife on this, or they did not put in the properly shaped knife. But either the knife hilt or the sheath is too large, or the knife is too small. But I mean, it's saying it the same way in different ways, but you know what I mean. They either made the knife sheath mold a little too big, or the knife itself mold has degraded to the point where it no longer, magically locks in like it used to. I like that about it. Now coming down here to the pistols, very basic pistols. Not very much exciting going on here. They didn't even really put that much texture going on into this pistol. There's some sculpt work into it, but very little texture, very little texture. And it doesn't even have little rivets on the side of the gun or any sort of grip on the handle. There's just this is the most basic pistol we've ever gotten in the G.I. Joe classified line, and that's a bad Hasbro. Why did you do that? Why are you stamping on this line at all? We've been giving you so much money, Hasbro. Keep funding this line, darn it. Now, before I really get into anything else with this figure, I want to talk about the most negative part and get it out of the way. The negative part is that these forearms for her, they're the same forearm on each side. There's not anything really different within the textures on these forearms, but the negative part about them is that they don't work well with the elbows. You gotta kind of spin the forearm around, and then you can kind of bring the elbow up, and it doesn't even work that well. But anyway, shove that up to her elbow a bit more. You see, it's just something's just not right with this elbows. Her elbows suck. They are the worst of the worst. And when it comes to elbows that I've seen, there's only a little bit of wiggle room there, and they don't even pull a great 90. They don't even go beyond, and you've really got to work at them to make them even move at all. And that's single jointed elbows that are some of the worst that I've seen in the G.I. Joe classified line so far. Like, it just, geez, that's when we got Zorana. A long time ago now. We got it months and months ago. We got Zorana. Zorana had amazing arms, but she's just, her arm. It's a Bad News' arm. The female Steele Core Trooper, their arms are just trash. Now I like everything above the elbow now, because everything up here above the elbow is really, really amazing. The sculpt work in it is great, but there's nothing below the elbow. You got it's like this long glove that makes me feel like they're the gloves Dexter's mom wore to clean the house, the big yellow ones in Dexter's laboratory. That's kind of what these are giving me the impression of, and I don't like that. I wish there was something breaking this stuff up. There's this little bit of texture down here, but that's nothing. That feels like it's a Velcro pad to Velcro these gloves on. And in that case, they're now even more like cleaning gloves than before. Now, articulation in the hands is very limited. It does have some, but they're very small joints. They went with very petite lady here when it comes to the arms, and that's kind of a shame. They could have gone a little thicker on the arms, and I don't think any of us would have had a problem. Now, she does have nice pauldrons. Each of them is really cool, and each of them is designed differently. One has got some cool rivets on it and stuff, and if you drag the pauldron down her arm and reveal her deltoid, you get some decent deltoid stuff going on here. That's a decent texture, and she's got something textured on there that's a little rectangle, and at least that's what it feels like. And it's same for the male figure. And if you know what those are, please let me know in the comments. There, bring bring your shoulder pauldron up. There you go. Now, her head's got some great movement, amazing articulation, and honestly, the rest of this figure has got top-notch articulation, though I wish they had done more on the ninja articulation for the core of her because she could do more. Um, they didn't give her over large breasts, which I appreciate. They're decently sized and covered by armor. That's really good. There's a knife on her right breast and a grenade on her left. Pretty nice. Now on her back, the armor has a little strap where the knife comes around and straps in place. That's pretty cool. That's a nice little attention to detail. And but the vest for her and the vest for Goodnews are both really the same vest. They're exactly the same in every measure. So I'm going to skip it when I talk to you about him. The belts are the same too for both of them. They're really nice belts. They feel like the little strips of armor trying to cover up some more areas where somebody can and a bullet can get in and then start just kind of bouncing around. So there's a little areas that could be protected extra by armor. So that's kind of neat. And it's also got a cool pattern on it. And it's they got the belt in the center, the buckle I mean in the center, and then on either side you got these pouch feeling things, and then behind them you've got more little very thin pouch feeling things that also feel like they may be armor. And then around the back you've got two more tinier ones that are actually what I feel like maybe just chunks of steel hanging down or something. They're still pretty cool. Uh, Coming down to the legs, the articulation for these legs is excellent. It's great articulation. It's everything that we've had from G.I. Joe Classified so far. The one of the pockets is that big old chunky filled out cargo pocket that's on a strap, and then the other side, her right side's got the pistol, and then her knees are really well done. There is some great not sculpt, textured work on the legs here, and very ironed pants. Like there's not even a seam or much of a texture in her pants up at the top, but then it comes down here and it bunches up. They did a good job with the bunch up on the fabric around the knee pads, and then coming down here, there's some great bunching up of the fabric above the boot. Now these boots are a little boring. They got a big strap that comes across the front of the boot, and I guess straps it down so that hides the laces, and then in the bottom there's some leather wear and tear, and on the underside of her foot is the typical stuff, but this is actually even better than normal because they went ahead and textured even the soles of the shoes, stuff you wouldn't normally see. So that's a big bonus with her, and I'm really excited that they included that. So that is that figure. Oh, and the head sculpt is going to be the same for both of them, and it's this mask thing that comes over. It's got rivets going around it, like some sort of thing put together, but with steel. And nice riveted job on the top of the helmet. There's a visor in there, really nice visor, and a little face mask. So we're gonna put. It's a venti face mask. It's got the vents. Now it's gonna set her over here, and don't you fall. No, no, no. Okay. Now, Goodnews over here. We're going to talk about what's different from him than her because we've covered so much now. The helmets are the same for both of them. The chest plates are the same for both of them. His forearms are a lot different. He's got double jointed elbows. Booyah. He's got really good double jointed elbows. And his forearm on his right hand side is got some really nice textures of glove, but more on just the what feels like a forearm armored piece more than a glove, and then it comes down to a glove. But the seam of that glove does come up, so it is forearm gloves, but these are got some more texture on them. Feels like they're a little more armored up. And then on the other arm, this one's got even more texture to it and some sort of cord-like material on it as well. And so that's really good. The right hand is a side-to-sider, and the left hand is an up-and-downer. His holster's on his right hand side, so that should be the up-and-downer, I thought. Maybe the gun is the side-to-sider. Anyway, not much more different about his legs, though he does have a lot more sculpt work and molding done in the pants, like so much more than with Badnews. It's a ridiculous amount more in comparison. Really great pants. All these textures are really good on him. Even the boots have a more texture. They have boot laces on the front and not just a big flat strap that comes down, and then it comes down here to some really well worn boots. You can feel their creases and the weather leather wear and tear. All right, so those are some nice boots and sculpting underneath the boots. It's excellent. It's wonderful. He's a great figure overall, and the now let's do the comparisons with him and Bat. Now him and Bat, Bat is still just slightly taller, but not by much. Boom, just a smidge, shoulder to shoulder. The Bat shoulder is just slightly taller than his shoulder. Like the Bat still wins in the game of height when it comes to good news. Now let's check out bad news. In bad news, you are a lot smaller. Now, yeah, so a lot smaller. Her shoulder is way far down. Her head is way far down compared to his. He can look over her head and then she can stare at his chest. So that is the comparison of their sizes. Not too bad, not too bad at all. And why aren't you getting put back correctly? I put you too far forward. There you go. All right, let's put the Bat over here and let's talk about their guns, because they come with 3 guns and 1 silencer. Very similar to the Viper Squadron, and these guns are very similar to the Viper Squadron's guns. There's this one that's kind of an assault machine gun, and it's got a big fat end on it, and it comes to a nice barrel. And it reminds me something out of a sci-fi game. There, it's got a removable ammo pack and a little pistol grip in there, but it's made out of rubber, which is a shame. And then we get this other gun, which is kind of the longest in the listing, I think, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's about the same size as the one we just talked about, but it's a different shape. It's a bit thinner. It's actually got a really nice scope on top, really well-defined scope, even to little knobs on the sides, and it's got a nice iron sight bit. I think this one seems to be the most like an M16 out of the grouping. It's just got a thicker foregrip, which is neat, and the barrel does extend out, and there's even a little bit, a little iron sight on the barrel itself. Pretty nice little gun, and a collapsible stock that, of course, doesn't collapse or roll. And finally, we've got the submachine gun. And it's got a handle on the front, and this is the same machine gun that we've gotten in a few other classified figures. Not much just changed with it. A little ammo pack and everything. It's not a bad machine gun. And I'm glad I have a second one, because I did get one with the Vipers. I think all of those are the ones that came with the Viper 3-pack, and all of these blast effects are the ones that came with the Viper 3-pack as well. You've got all your favorites, the X-shaped explosion thingamajig, the long, tapering explosion thingamajig, the bullets falling from the end of a gun, my favorite, the smoke. Oh, I love the smoke. It's great. The little blast effect and the explosion of like the shotgun pow effect, and then you have this big round one. I have no idea, but I'm sure people put it to use. And then you have this long one. It's pretty good stuff. And any more blast effects? Oh yeah. Then you have this explosion one that's kind of neat too. And nice blast effects. It's good to have more of those. They are always fun to have. And finally, we've got heads. Now, these are the other heads that came with the figures. One of these heads is not like the others. One of these heads is Grunt. So these 2 heads are the ones that are the spare heads for the classified troopers, and they are not very, not much to say about them. They got a mouth thing in the front, and it seems like a giant visor. I think these are supposed to be heads for being in the Dragonfly helicopter or something. So cool that we got those heads, and we can just carry them around for over a year until we get the Dragonfly. And then the Grunt head, of course, is very similar to them, but yet different. So it's more similar to the Steele Core heads that they currently have, down to the rivets around it, which is very cool that it is very similar to, like, let's get out good news. Good news? No, you're not good news. Where's good news? Good news. Okay, so comparing him to good news here, and we've got some nice comparisons. Though I do wish that their heads were more similar. instead of being just ever so different. And I think it would have been cool if they had been exactly the same. But that is enough time for today. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I've enjoyed making it. Once again, I enjoyed meeting all of you at the convention that I managed to meet you at. I'm worn out completely. It's going to be going to take another break tomorrow and just kind of more recuperate myself after everything that I did over the weekend. But it was an excellent weekend, and I loved every minute of it. And thank you all, those of you that are there, those of you who commented on my live stream, those of you who have been fans of me from the beginning, and those of you who have just joined us today. Thank you all for your help and your support, and let's just keep going with it. So next week we'll cover Cosmos, and this Friday we're going to cover the number 5. So thanks for watching, and tune in next time. Bye bye for now.